I'm Dr. Chloe Bennett, and I've been practicing urology for over 25 years. In that time, I've worked with thousands of men who came into my office looking tired, frustrated, and honestly a little defeated, and almost every single one of them said the same thing to me. Dr. Bennett, I don't have the energy I used to have. I get worn out doing nothing. My body just doesn't respond the way it did before. Is this just getting old? Or is there something I can actually do about it? I want you to stop for a second and think about how you feel when you wake up in the morning. Do you jump out of bed ready to take on the day? Or does it feel like your body is a rusty machine that needs a full hour just to get moving? Do you remember a time when you had that spark, that real physical vitality, and now it feels like it disappeared somewhere along the way? If any of that sounds familiar, I need you to keep watching, because what I'm about to share with you today could genuinely change the way you feel. Not next year, not after some expensive surgery or prescription drug regimen, but within the next few weeks. And the answer is probably already sitting in your kitchen right now. I'm talking about 3 specific fruits. Fruits you've eaten your whole life, probably without ever knowing what they're truly capable of. But here's the thing, it's not just about eating them. It's about how you eat them, when you eat them, and what you combine them with. Get that right, and you activate a completely different level of benefit. Get it wrong, and you're leaving most of the value on the table. Now, before I get into the fruits themselves, I need you to understand something important. Because if you don't understand the root cause of what's happening in your body, the protocol I'm going to give you won't make nearly as much sense. What most men over 60 are experiencing, the fatigue, the low drive, the joint aches, the mental fog, the feeling that your body is just slowly winding down, that's not simply normal aging. I've heard that phrase used as an excuse for decades, and honestly, it drives me crazy. Yes, your body changes as you get older, but what most men are dealing with goes well beyond natural age-related change. It's the result of years of chronic low-grade inflammation building up in the body, specific nutritional deficiencies that accumulate quietly over time, and a metabolism that has gradually shifted into what I call survival mode, where it's doing just enough to keep you going rather than helping you thrive. And here's the critical piece that most people miss. These 3 things, inflammation, nutritional deficiency, and metabolic slowdown, they feed each other. One makes the other worse, which makes the third one worse, which circles back and amplifies the first. It becomes a cycle that's very hard to break unless you address it at the root level. That's exactly what these 3 fruits do. Each one targets a specific part of that cycle. Together, they work as a system. And when you follow the protocol I'm going to give you, you start breaking that cycle within days. Let me tell you about a patient of mine. His name was Daniel, and he was 64 years old when he first walked into my office in Atlanta. Retired military. The kind of guy who used to run 5 miles before breakfast without breaking a sweat. But when I saw him, he was exhausted just from walking across the parking lot. His energy levels were through the floor, his testosterone was low, he had inflammation markers that were way above normal. And he'd been told by multiple doctors that this was just what happened after 60 and that he should manage expectations. Daniel was frustrated, and he had every right to be. I put him on a fruit-based nutritional protocol, the same one I'm going to walk you through today. No dramatic lifestyle overhaul, no expensive supplements, just 3 specific fruits used in a very specific way. Within 20 days, his energy had improved so significantly that he called my office just to tell me. Within 60 days, his inflammation markers had dropped to near normal levels. He told me he felt more like himself than he had in a decade. That's what's possible. And Daniel is not an exception. I've seen this work for men all across the spectrum, different backgrounds, different health histories, different lifestyles. The underlying biology is the same. Now let's get into it. The first fruit is green apple. I know what you're thinking. Dr. Bennett, it's an apple. I've been eating apples my whole life. And you have, but I guarantee you haven't been eating them the way I'm about to tell you to, because most people eat the flesh and throw away the skin, and that is a massive mistake. The most powerful compound in green apple, pectin, is concentrated almost entirely in the skin. Pectin is a specific type of soluble fiber, and it does something remarkable inside your digestive system. It forms a gel-like substance that slows the absorption of glucose into your bloodstream. For men over 60, this is critical because one of the biggest drivers of chronic inflammation and energy instability is what's called glucose dysregulation, blood sugar that spikes and crashes throughout the day, keeping your metabolism stuck in that survival mode I mentioned earlier. When you stabilize glucose absorption, you stabilize energy, you reduce inflammatory signals. You give your metabolism the consistent fuel it needs to shift out of survival mode and into what I call performance mode. But that's not all pectin does. It also acts as a prebiotic. It feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. And your gut, as you may already know, is not just about digestion. It's directly connected to your immune function, your hormone production, your mood, and even your testosterone levels. A healthier gut means better hormonal balance. Better hormonal balance means more energy, better sleep, stronger drive. Now here's the specific protocol for green apple. Every morning, and I mean every single morning, you eat one medium-sized green apple, skin on. Don't peel it. Granny Smith is what I recommend. It has higher pectin content than red varieties. You eat it first thing, before anything else, ideally within 30 minutes of waking up and before any coffee or breakfast. Eat it slowly. Chew it well. The goal is to get that pectin working before any other food hits your system. Now let me address something right off the bat, because I know some of you are going to ask, can I do this if I have diabetes? That's a great question, and I'm glad you're thinking about it. Green apple, especially Granny Smith, has one of the lowest glycemic indexes of any fruit. The pectin actually helps regulate blood sugar rather than spike it. However, if you're on medication for diabetes, I do want you to talk to your doctor before starting this or any dietary change. Not because it's dangerous, it's fruit, but because it may actually work so well at regulating glucose that your medication dosage may need adjusting. That's a good problem to have, but you want to be monitored. Now the second fruit, and this is the one that honestly blows my patients' minds every time I explain the science behind it. Watermelon. Specifically, I need you to think about the white part, that pale rind between the green skin and the red flesh that you've been throwing in the trash your entire life. That part, that piece you always discard, is one of the most powerful natural circulatory boosters I know of. Here's why. The white rind of watermelon is extraordinarily rich in an amino acid called citrulline. And when citrulline enters your body, something fascinating happens. Your kidneys convert it into another amino acid called arginine. And arginine then triggers the production of nitric oxide inside your blood vessels. Now, nitric oxide is what I call the master molecule of circulation. It causes your blood vessels to dilate, to open up and relax. And when your blood vessels dilate, everything improves. Blood flows more freely to your brain, to your muscles, to your organs, to every cell in your body that needs oxygen and nutrients to function at its best. I had another patient, a 68-year-old man named Robert from right here in the South. Robert had been dealing with what he described as a total shutdown. Chronic fatigue, poor circulation, and significant sexual dysfunction that was affecting his marriage and his confidence in a major way. He came to me embarrassed and honestly pretty desperate. When I explained the citrulline-to-nitric oxide mechanism, he looked at me the same way all my patients do. Doctor, Bennett, are you telling me that watermelon is going to do what Viagra does? And I told him what I tell everyone. It uses the exact same biological pathway, the exact same mechanism that pharmaceutical companies figured out how to trigger with a pill. Your body can trigger naturally with the right food. No side effects, no prescription, no copay. Robert was skeptical. I get it. It sounds too simple. But he tried the protocol, and within 2 weeks he called my nurse to say things were, and I'm quoting him here, back in business. Here's the watermelon protocol. Every morning, about 30 minutes before any physical activity, whether that's a walk, some light exercise, or even just yard work, you eat exactly 200 grams of fresh watermelon. That's roughly 2 good-sized slices. And here's the key. You need to include a portion of the white rind. Don't cut it all away. Leave a centimeter or 2 of that white part on each piece and eat it. I know it's bland. Eat it anyway. But that's only part of the protocol. You need to pair it with 5 walnuts, not almonds, not cashews, walnuts specifically. Walnuts are naturally high in arginine, which is exactly what your kidneys need to convert the citrulline from the watermelon into nitric oxide as efficiently as possible. The combination is what makes this work. Watermelon alone gives you citrulline. Walnuts give you the arginine that optimizes the conversion. Together, you get maximum nitric oxide production. And if you're not doing any physical activity that day, that's fine. Just eat it mid-morning rather than pre-workout. The benefits aren't only exercise related. Better circulation means better energy, better mental clarity, better everything, all day long. Now, I want to talk about the third fruit. And this one is probably the most misunderstood of the three, because most people think of bananas as just a simple, sweet snack. But a very ripe banana, and I mean very ripe, with those dark brown spots all over the skin, is one of the most powerful tools you have for maintaining muscle function and hormonal health as you age. Here's what's happening chemically in a ripe banana. As it ripens, the starch converts into simple sugars that are absorbed quickly and efficiently. The magnesium content becomes more bioavailable, and, this is the part most people don't know, ripe bananas contain a compound called tryptophan that converts in your body to serotonin. Serotonin isn't just about mood, it's a precursor to melatonin, which means better sleep. And for men, deep quality sleep is when the majority of testosterone is produced. More magnesium availability means better muscle contraction and recovery. Better sleep means more testosterone. More testosterone means more energy, stronger drive, better body composition. It's a chain reaction that starts with one very ripe banana. And yes, someone always asks me this. A ripe banana is fine for most people with diabetes because the glycemic response, while higher than green apple, is balanced by the fiber and the way it's absorbed when paired correctly. But again, check with your doctor if you're on medication. Now, here's a question I get from people fairly often. Does it matter what type of banana I use? The short answer is no, any ripe banana works. What matters is the ripeness level. Yellow with no spots? Not ripe enough. You want it yellow with significant brown spotting. Some people call those overripe and throw them out. I call those therapeutic. Don't throw them out. And can you eat a ripe banana cooked? You can. Baking doesn't destroy the core nutrients, but eating it raw is optimal because heat does reduce some of the enzyme activity. Raw is best when possible. Here's the ripe banana protocol. Every day, 30 minutes after any physical activity, or mid-afternoon if you're not exercising, eat one very ripe banana combined with 1 tablespoon of ground almonds. The ground almonds add healthy fats and additional magnesium that help your body absorb and utilize the banana's nutrients more effectively. Now let me put it all together for you because I know some of you are wondering, do I eat all three at the same time? The answer is no, and timing matters. Here's the 20-day protocol broken down. Days 1 through 5 start with only the green apple. 1 medium Granny Smith skin on every morning before anything else. That's it. Don't add the others yet. Give your gut microbiome time to adjust. Some people experience mild changes in digestion when they significantly increase pectin intake, and starting gradually prevents any discomfort. During these 5 days, keep a simple daily journal. Rate your energy level from 1 to 10 each morning. Note your sleep quality. Note your mood. This baseline matters. Days 6 through 10, add the watermelon. Keep your morning green apple, and add 200 grams of watermelon with the white rind plus 5 walnuts about 30 minutes before your main physical activity of the day. Continue your daily journal. You should start noticing changes in energy and physical performance around day 7 or 8 for most people. Days 11 through 15. Add the banana. Keep both previous protocols and add the very ripe banana with 1 tablespoon of ground almonds 30 minutes after physical activity or mid-afternoon. By this point, you're running the full system. All 3 fruits, each hitting a different part of that inflammatory metabolic cycle I described at the beginning. Days 16 through 20. Optimization. Continue all 3 protocols. Pay close attention to how your body is responding. Some men do better with slightly larger portions, especially men who are more physically active. Some do better with slightly smaller portions. Your body will give you signals. The key is consistency. Don't skip days. Don't substitute. Give the protocol the full 20 days. And here's something really important I want everyone to understand. The 20-day protocol is a foundation, not a finish line. The men I've seen get the most dramatic, lasting results are the ones who treat this as a long-term lifestyle shift rather than a short-term experiment. The anti-inflammatory effects accumulate over time. The circulatory improvements compound over weeks and months. The hormonal and metabolic benefits deepen the longer you stay consistent. I've had patients who started this protocol thinking they'd try it for 20 days and see what happened. And 2 years later, they're still doing it every single day because they feel so much better than they did before. Now, I want to take a moment to address something that some of you may be thinking. You might be watching this and wondering whether what I'm telling you is real, whether the science actually backs this up, whether this is just another wellness video making big promises. And I completely understand that skepticism. You should be skeptical. You've probably seen a lot of content online that overpromises and underdelivers. So here's what I want to say to you directly. As someone who has practiced medicine for over 25 years and has spent her career in clinical urology working with real men dealing with real health challenges, I don't share anything with my patients that I haven't seen work, not just in theory, but in practice, repeatedly across different ages and health backgrounds. The mechanisms I've described, pectin's effect on glucose metabolism and gut health, citrulline's role in nitric oxide production, the hormonal and muscular benefits of ripe banana, these are not fringe ideas. They're well supported by nutritional biochemistry research. What I've done is combine them into a practical sequential protocol that makes them accessible to real people living real lives. You don't need a fancy diet. You don't need to throw out everything in your kitchen. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars a month on supplements. You need a green apple, some watermelon, a bunch of very ripe bananas, a small bag of walnuts, and a tablespoon of ground almonds. That's it. I also want to be straight with you about one more thing. If you have significant medical conditions, especially type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, kidney issues, or if you're currently on blood pressure medication or blood thinners, please talk to your doctor before making significant dietary changes. Not because fruit is dangerous, it's not, but because some of these foods interact with certain medications in ways that are worth monitoring. The nitric oxide production from the watermelon protocol, for example, can enhance the effects of blood pressure medications. That might sound great, but if you're already on medication, you want to make sure your doctor knows and can keep an eye on things. That said, I genuinely believe that every man watching this, regardless of age, regardless of where your health is right now, has the capacity to feel significantly better than you currently do. I have watched men in their late 60s and 70s transform their energy levels, their physical performance, their confidence, and their overall quality of life through changes that are far simpler than they ever expected. Aging does not have to mean declining. I have seen too many men prove that wrong to believe otherwise. Your body's capacity for recovery and renewal is extraordinary, and it responds powerfully when you give it what it needs. I've had men tell me they'd forgotten what it felt like to wake up in the morning and actually look forward to the day. I've had men tell me their wives noticed the change before they even said anything. I've had men in their 70s tell me they feel stronger and more energetic than they did at 55. These aren't miracles, they're biology, and they're available to you. Start tomorrow morning. 1 green apple, skin on, before anything else. That's your first step. Small, simple, and completely within your reach. Your body has been waiting for this. Let's give it what it needs.